What's up, everybody, and welcome to Narcocop MMA. I'm your host, Mike, along with my co-host, Timothy Troiano, and this is the Lambo Place Podcast, episode 126, UFC Vegas 104. Timothy, UFC Vegas 104, a lot of low-level matchups, I would call them. But, you know, we're here. I guess maybe low-level matchups maybe give us more opportunities for some big props. But, yeah, I mean, this is a card that I kind of lean opposite of violence here, to be honest. But not sure where you're at here. But how do you feel?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, man. This is a very either like fighters are getting their AARP retirement programs going, or they're Dana White Contender Series guys that have like just no tape or the worst tape in the world. So it's like really hard to tell what we're getting on a lot of these guys. And then when you look for like dependable fighters that aren't super old, then you get like Alex Hernandez and Ryan Spann. So it's really tough. Seems super volatile to me.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird card for me. Yeah, there's some interesting things going on. But you know, the one thing I need to do is always shout out my chat. The one thing I will say, Tim, last week I talked about this intro music, and I was really like bashing the intro music to StreamYard, the one they offered. And I kind of asked if chat, you know, was able to send me a clip or something I can play for an intro. Not one person sent me anything.
Damn.
Unbelievable.
Shame.
And I always call them the best game in the chat, but I still will. And maybe after next week, I change my mind if nobody does send me anything. But first up here, it's Mushroom. What's up, my man? Elijah1, let's effing go. Andrew Peden says, it is time. DA07, Narco. I need a reassurance that Duben doesn't possess the death of touch, so I'm not scared shitless tomorrow. I don't think Duben possesses the death of touch. Dixon, Narco, huge congrats to your beloved co-host for landing the big contract as Hudson's new tennis. What is this about, Tim?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Dixon is always somewhere in space, dude. This guy. Azure, what's up, my man? Thank you for joining. Definitely a sketchy card. James, only way I'm playing tennis with Hezbollah if he has the ball. Jackie, what's up, my man? I've got my people's parlay ready. Let's get it up to 300 likes. Yeah, last week we fizzled, but we're back again this week. Oreo, what up, though? What's up, my friend? Craig Crowley, what's up? Danny Link, biggest Judice fan tomorrow. I think a bunch of us are. Bufu on the beat. Is he with Hezbollah? He says. Rem Dog. Yo, Judice Cunningham Trailer Park takeover this week. He says. Not an AM. Thoughts on the Elf's push-up challenge was rigged for Moneyline. Stop it. That was the joke of the man of the library lost his fucking mind yesterday, and I was there just loving it. The guy bet, bragging about how much he bet on it. I have 7 tickets. He shows the tickets to him, $5 a piece, like under $5. Absolute disgrace. A guy that says he kills the books, he knows the scripts. Absolute disgrace to the betting community. Steverson, what's up, my man? Let's effing go. Ryan the Ripper says, give me some gold nuggets. Joe LS, what's up, my man? Thank you for joining as well. Poker player, let's go. Chronic Combat in the house. Thank you very much. Appreciate you very, very much. Tyler, my man Tyler. You guys shoot this guy a follow. Tyler Gates, unbelievable highlight knockout last week. I posted it on Twitter. Head kick knockout. That's my man Tyler. Thank you for joining. Champ Bets, Judice about to smoke Duben, man. We will be there. Let's go. Hopefully that's true. Daz, what's up, my man? Thank you for joining. Julius Caesar says, how come Tim didn't have Santos by split last week? I have no idea why he didn't. Tim, why didn't you have Santos by split last week?
You know what's really actually funny about that is that I bet twice live fight to end by split, and then I bet Santos plus 450 after round 1 to win a decision. and then I bet him at plus 1480 money line. So sorry.
Absolute robbery.
Yeah,
Trap
sorry.
Lord, no new music yet. You're not helping me, bro. You're not helping me, Trap Lord. I need the intro music. Aussie Fight Fan, what's up? Do your push-ups, stay out of the library. Correct. Raw Torque, word up. And yeah, Tim, 133 people in here. Let's kick this one off because there's 13 fights. By the way, 3 fighters missed weight. Joseus Musasa missed by half a pound, which is usually the worst miss. Nurganze missed by 4.5 pounds. I don't know what the heck the guy was eating. He loved the buffet food at Caesars. You know the one you were at? You know the one you loved?
Yeah.
I think this guy was there this past weekend.
It's funny because he's on Ramadan too, so it makes sense,
yeah,
right?
Is he on Ramadan? He's Muslim too, huh?
I think he's Muslim, yeah.
What is he doing, dude? How do you
gain? How do you gain?
And Jakkuani missed by 1.25 pounds. So I don't think anybody looked terrible at the scales, but I have to mention the misses. Okay, let's start off here, Tim. First fight of the night. It is in the women's flyweight division. It is the 6-0 Eunice Duben versus the 3-2 Carly Judice, and this one's yours.
Some interesting line movement on this fight. Been going pretty crazy towards Duben. I think, I don't know, from the tape study that I've done, I think people may be smoking too many Dubens to move that line in that direction. I think Judice is the side. I think that it's not really good to rely on people named Judice historically, religiously, but we're going to go with it in this situation. Judice, I just think that she's a better pretty much everywhere. I think she's got the volume edge. I think her defense is going to give me the only scare in this fight. I think that allows the meme ability for Duben to potentially hit. But I mean, like, that strike was one of the funniest shots of all time. Like, her head is down, her eyes are closed. She just wings a shot on somebody that's just hands her down and just walks straight into it. So it was like a perfect shot. Credit to her for getting her contract in this one. Definitely Dixon, this is a lotion fight for sure. Duben's been doing well training. I'm going to go with Judice round 2, round 3, plus 800, plus 1300. And I've seen some grappling tapes of Duben. I mean, it's from a long time ago, like over 5-6 years ago. And she was grappling, doing jiu-jitsu competitions and grappling competitions. And like, she's getting mounted by pretty shitty grapplers and girls that seemed way smaller than her. Got mounted in both fights, got armbarred in both fights. So to me, I maybe take a small stab at the sub 2, sub 3, but I think it's most likely a KO. But sub 2, sub 3 is plus 2,300, 3,300. But the plain old round 2 is 800, round 3 is 1,300. I think there's a good chance that Carly can throw some solid shots and get an attritional finish in late rounds.
Yeah, I mean, interesting line movement. Like you said, it's, by the way, line is shot right back up to minus 300 for Judice here. So he's had a lot of buyback, almost $1, because it was down to 200 and almost $1 back now. Honestly, I expect this to close over 400 again. I expect people to put money coming in on Judice. I don't know what happened and how this line got steamed. I kind of know what happened and who bet this line and steamed it, but I'm not going to mention it. But yeah, I mean, it's probably some syndicate group that moved the line. But yeah, it's moving its way back up again, and it's minus 300. And Judice is coming off 2 split decisions, right? Dana White's Contender Series split. She still earned a contract. First fight in the UFC, a tough opening matchup, honestly, against the big physical Gabriela Fernandez. Again, lost a split decision in a close fight. And, what do I take from those 2 fights, right? Like, she fought actually 2 pretty good strikers, and Fernandez and Karate, whatever the girl's name is. But the other thing I take is, she wasn't the bigger girl in both those fights, because those girls are pretty damn big for 125, right? So She wasn't able to use her range, her size, to land from the outside, her kicks, because, those girls were just as long as she was, if not longer. I'm watching this girl Duben and like, I understand that her tape is old. She's mounted years back, and she doesn't look very good there, but I don't really see improvements either. Like, I mean, Shannon Clark, was she landing some kicks? And yeah, fine. But Shannon Clark is an absolute bot on the feet. Like, if you stuck a scarecrow or a statue there, that's Shannon Clark. Doesn't move her head, or walks forward with like a duck with her head, hands down. And she got clipped with her overhand. Okay, so what does that tell me about Duben? Okay, she has power, sure. She has knockouts in all of her fights. But, other things that tell me is what I've seen on tape and her on bottom, right? And I haven't seen anything to suggest otherwise right now. She's looked awful on bottom, that fight against that Mavette Torres chick, my goodness. And it was 6 years ago, but holy moly, talk about a girl that doesn't know what she's doing. Judice does grapple. That's the thing. She landed 2 takedowns against Fernandez. She attempted 4. She attempted 4 versus Ernesta. And I think she has a big grappling edge, honestly, here. I think she has a big striking edge here. I think she has a volume edge here. I think she has a cardio edge here. And I can go on and on and on. And, what does Duben have? Maybe the power edge, right? Like, she might have the power edge here, but she's so green. Is Judice green? Sure. She doesn't have a lot of experience. She might even have, overall less experience, but the level of competition is different, right? So I would say, based on the level of competition and the amount of rounds she's went against this type of competition, she has more experience than Duben. So, for me, she's 26. She's going to be improving as well. If you want to say Nunes is improving, fine. But so is Judice. And I just think she's the more complete, more the mixed martial artist here. The girl that is longer, is younger, has more volume, has better cardio, is better everywhere. And when I tell you all these things, you would think she's minus. So the other thing is, Tim, I'm going to say this one last thing. Duben went into her last fight, and Clark was a minus 1,800, guys. Minus 1,800. And she knocked her out with one overhand. And all of a sudden, now against Judice, who's a much better fighter than Clark is, it's a minus 300. So, make it make sense. The market was saying that Duben sucked. And now they're saying, oh, no, Duben's very, she's much better than the market thinks, because she landed that big overhand bullshit against Clark. So for me, 2-3 as well. It's actually moved up. It's 1,000 and 1,600 on FanDuel. But my whisper bet of the week, Tim, it's the sub 2-3 on our favorite fighter, Judice. Sub 2-3 plus 1,800. I think she's going to grapple, man. I think she should grapple, because I'll tell you, I haven't heard very good things about Duben while training in Colorado on the mats. That's all I'll say. With that being said, let's move on. Second fight of the night, and it is in the women's bantamweight division. It is the 10-3 Josiane Nunes versus the 12-6 Priscilla Cachoeira. I will kick this one off. I mean, there's a lot of people on Cachoeira, at plus money. They kind of see this fight as a pick 'em. I honestly don't. Nunes has fought the lower level of opposition, yes. Nunes has lost to a bad girl in Chelsea Chandler, yes. She looked bad against Ramona Pascal. But she's the natural 35er, and she's actually even fought at 45. I think she has the better chin of the two girls. She's more durable. I think she has the better cardio of the two girls. And when I look at Cachoeira, she just doesn't do the things that impact Nunes, right? If you can grapple Nunes, you might win. That's what Chandler did, right? But if you can't grapple her and you got to strike with her, I think she has big power. I think she has the better chin, like I said. And I think she has way better cardio than Catua. It's not even close. So I watched Jasmine Jasudavicius absolutely drop Catua bad in the last fight. It's embarrassing. Jasudavicius shouldn't drop anybody on the feet. She doesn't really have power like that. So Nunes, I see fighting a pretty close decision against Cavalcante, who's huge, and she has extremely good striking and footwork, man. It's just something Cachoeira doesn't have. Cachoeira's chin is up a lot. Defensively, she's horrific. I do think Nunes at least keeps her hands up when she's striking. So I like Nunes by KO. I think she has legit power at 35. I think Cachoeira's been hurting many. I mean, if Kim can hurt you, Tim, if Junyoung Kim can hurt you, I think Cachoeira Nunes can knock her out. So give me the plus 400 on Josiane Nunes here, probably later in the fight when Cachoeira gasses a bit, but it could be early. And I'm going to take Nunes here, the natural 35er, the better cardio, the better chin, in my opinion. Josiane Nunes by KO plus 400.
Yeah, the books are kind of scared about that line when she's getting like a better KO line or a worse KO line than like Alex Fernandez and other fighters in this fucking thing. Like how often do you see that? It's not like Cachoeira's like been knocked out a ton. I don't even know if she's been knocked. I don't think she's been knocked out on the feet ever. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. To me, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. The only thing I would push back on is I thought that the fight with Cavalcanti was pretty clear. She didn't die in there, but I thought that was a pretty when they said split decision on that, I was like, okay, this is why I bet split decisions, and that's what I'm betting here. Just classic women's fight. The thing about Zombie is that she steals a lot of these fights because she just forward pressure and she just keeps throwing strikes, and she'll she's not going to hit. She's going to throw it at air 80% of the time. But I just think we see it with the Vanessa Demopoulos of the world, and just Zombie forward, throw a shit ton of volume, have the better shots come from the other side, split decision, ends split plus 330, Zombie points plus 370, Zombie split plus 900. I think it's probably as Nunes split, but to be honest, you'll take small stabs maybe at the end split and maybe a little bit on the Zombie by split.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the thing with Cachoeira is like what you mentioned, she's walking forward throwing. I honestly don't know if she could do that in this fight. I'm looking at her competition. None of these girls hit hard.
Right.
So okay, she's coming forward swinging against Miranda Maverick. Yeah, of course. Against Jasmine. Yeah, of course. Jasmine's she doesn't hit hard. None of these girls, Kim and Robertson and Mizani and Adopson, none of these, if she comes forward and tries to swing like that and Nunes lands that straight left, she's going to kill her. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
I murder her.
I agree. I really do agree with your take. And the part that I agree with the most is just Junyoung Kim almost killed her. She almost killed her until the elbows in the end of the third round. And
you know why, Kim? Honestly, to your point, she wasn't backing up a lot, Junyoung Kim. She was trying to come forward as well. She wasn't good. And who has made Nunes back up? Not even Cavalcante did.
Yeah,
he landed everything on her.
Yeah, it's also like you said, I just don't think that there's not anywhere remotely close to the power. She hasn't seen remotely close to the power that she's going to see if she connects in the left hand. Plus 400 on a women's MMA fucking KO prop where there's no grappling at all that's a really short line.
Versus a very, very defensively foiled fighter.
Defensively foiled, but she's shown durability. The thing that they call her.
But that's my thing. Right. I have to look and give it context. Yes, she has. You're right. But against who?
Right. We always say the same thing. That shit ends sometime. It doesn't always if she's taking the shots that she's taking, then she's getting more hurt in the last few fights. And now this is the end.
Exactly. Is it starting to end? Because
Right.
Jasmine dropped her last time. Is it starting to end? It's possible.
Yeah,
She took a beating. She took a beating against Maverick on the ground before that. I mean, she took a beating last fight too. I mean, Jasmine beat the shit out of her.
Yeah, that was fucking crazy. I cannot believe we didn't cash that KO.
Yeah, we didn't catch it. And you got to remember one other thing. She's turning 37 this year, so she's not young. She's not a spring chicken. But yeah, I mean, she is tough. I will give her that. I think it's an uphill battle for her, in my opinion, in this fight.
For sure.
All right, let's move on. Fight number 3. It is in the flyweight division. It is the 10-0 Andre Lima versus the 17-6 Daniel Barz. Before you go on, Tim, this one's yours. I'm giving Andre the Cheat Lima is his nickname officially. Official nickname, Andre the Cheat Lima. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't even thinking about. I'll probably put $20 on point deduction on this fight. I never do, but like, I think it could be time that this guy gets called for some bullshit, either kicking balls or eye pokes. I will say this: I think that they're going to start calling more points. Like from the last card, how quick they were to call Armin Petrosyan on the 2 nut shots. Like I think that the Manel Kopp fight might have gotten some of these refs to like everything just goes, comes and goes. So I think like maybe the next few months you see a couple more opportunities for like point deductions and shit like that, and it overcorrects and then it goes back to normal. But that being said, I totally agree that Lima's a big fucking cheater. Also, I don't get the line here. Like, I'm not saying that I don't think that Lima's like should be the favorite. I think he should be the favorite. He's got the age, he's got, speed, he's got a lot of different variables that you'd be like, he's got better cardio. Those things matter, but it's like they're pricing Barz like he fucking sucks. Like, and he doesn't start first rounds and hurt everybody in every first round that he's fighting. So to me, I just like, I think Severino versus Lima 2 was going Severino's way before he bites him. Like, I thought it was starting to turn and hit in his favor. I think Lima is very low volume. He showed grappling in his last fight. I think it's possible he could grapple here, but he just doesn't typically go for it. Like, and he's not like separating in rounds a ton. And and I think the last fight too against Raposo, like he was all kicks. Like it was a ton of kicks. It wasn't like he wasn't throwing hands a ton. And I don't know. To me, I just feel like Barz by decision, Barz by split, and split are good here. The trifecta again. Barz points is plus 700. I do think he could hurt him in multiple rounds, just like the fight with Altamirano. Like, he doesn't need to beat you volume, pillar to post in these fights. Like, he can drop you at any moment with one of his shots and win a round. So I think round 1 is very close. I think Barz might be able to win round 1. Then he needs to sneak out one of the other ones. So end split plus 350, Barz points plus 700, Barz by split is plus 2,200. Yeah, sign me up for that.
Yeah. I like your breakdown of the fight. I like Barz. Like, overall, I think I think they're pricing him wrong here. Honestly, you're right. Like, it's almost plus 400, by the way. The line keeps jumping up, and it keeps moving. The thing with Lima is he's not very high volume, but he picks his shots very well, right? He's not very wild. He knows how to counter you. So what I'm basically trying to say is he kind of likes aggressive guys because he counters them really well. Like that one kid in Dana White's Contender Series, he's a really good fighter, and he countered him with a nice step and elbow and absolutely rocked the guy very bad. But he's a cheater, dude. Like, he grabs the fence every fight. Like, fence grabs, he did 4 of them against that dude at Dana White's Contender Series. He did another 1 or 2 against Raposo. He did another like 3 or 4 against fucking Felipe dos Santos. The guy just cheats his ass off, like unbelievably. And, you know, is he a good fighter? I do think he's a good fighter. I do think he's a very good fighter. He has good grappling. He's got good striking. He's got good timing. He's got, you know, decent cardio. So, and he's young, right? He's only 26. So he's going to be getting better. You know, Barz, the problem for me with Barz is how old he is. You know, at 36 years old, at flyweight, it's tough to pull the trigger on guys like this, right? And you watch the Alto Moreno fight. They gave it a unanimous decision. It was very, very close fight. It really was. And Alto Moreno was coming on towards the end of that fight. He hurt Barz with a spinning back fist, the lucky spinning back fist. But then against Filio, like he hurts Filio, then he kind of gets hurt, and then the grappling sequence, and it almost looks like he gave up. Like it felt like he gave up. The thing is with Lima is I don't think he has huge power. I think he has good, decent power, but I feel like Barz grapples in almost every fight. And I think Lima's a very good counter grappler. He's going to be hard to get down and hold down. And I do think he goes for submissions as well. He gets these opportunistic moments where he goes for a sub. I'm going to test that here, Tim. I'm going to test the 750 here on the Lima sub because it could be a clubbing sub for once where he hurts Barz and he shoots into something. Or it could just be, you know, where they're grappling and Lima gets on top. And I've seen this guy quit, to be honest. You know, like the Filio one was very shaky to me. And the other thing is he's been subbed 2 other times before that. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to take a shot with Lima sub here at 7.5 to 1. I do think he's going to have opportunities to, you know, lock in a sub here. Maybe he doesn't get it. I mean, Barz is not a fish on the ground either. But, you know, like I said, Filio had 1 attempt. Hernandez had 1 attempt on him. And if you look at Lima, he's had 4 submission attempts in the last 3 fights. So he does go for them. And when I'm looking to bet something like this, you know, I want to see the side that, you know, actually at least attempts submissions. And he's a black belt on top of it. So, yeah, I'm going to take Lima by sub here. Let's move on. What are they saying here? Lima got that Brazilian mindset. And obviously he has jiu-jitsu for sure. What else do we have here? What's good, my man? What's good? All right. Tim, fight number 4. It is in the women's strawweight division. It is the 9-6 Sam Hughes versus the 6-1-1 Stephanie Luciano. 3 out of 4 fights, women's fights here, Tim. This one here is a little tricky to me because Luciano's young. She's improving. She's, you know, has good size for the division. I do think she's a little bit like on the noodly side. I don't know. You know, I don't think she's very strong. Maybe because she's so young. She's not kind of filled out and stuff. But, you know, I've seen her get taken down a lot. I saw her in the first Alan Carr fight. She got taken down a bunch. In the Romero fight, she got taken down. In another, that Oliveira, or not the Oliveira fight. Yeah, the Michelle Oliveira fight, I saw her getting taken down a lot. So, like, her takedown defense is not great. I'm not saying that Sam Hughes necessarily is going to go for a bunch of takedowns, but I do think this chick is going to initiate takedowns herself. And from what I've seen, her takedowns, they're kind of like body lock. And I think Sam Hughes can probably win some of those positions and get her down. So, you know, what's she going to do with it? I don't think Sam Hughes is going to do much. But the one thing with Sam Hughes is her takedown defense is great. Her get-up game, I don't want to say it's great. Sorry, I take that back. Her takedown defense is good, but her get-up game is very good. So, you know, I think this is a bit closer than the line, to be honest. The problem for me, like, if Sam Hughes had any, like, separation in her fights, I'd probably play her. I just don't see separations. Everything has to be close. Every fight has to be within, a minute or two of her winning some moment or something. Like, it's never clear cut for this chick. So I can't really bet her unless I get like a big number on her, right? And we don't really have a huge number on her. And I think that's the market telling you that Luciano is still very green. This is a big step up for her. She's fought this chick, Alencar, that's a one-trick pony. All she knows how to do is try to get the fight to the ground. And if she doesn't, she's clueless on the feet. Hughes has more experience. Hughes has, she's strong. She has good volume. She has good cardio. So, all those things considered, I don't think the one thing with Hughes is she doesn't hit hard. She's not really a submission threat. Like, she's a decision machine. And I think Hughes by decision plus 275 on Hard Rock here. Who do I think wins? Someone asked last week if we can actually say who do we think actually wins the fight. I lean Luciano winning this fight because the age, the youth, she's bigger. I think she's the better overall striker as well. She uses her kicks. She's longer. So, I think she wins, but I think the decision prop on Hughes is worth a poke. I mean, it's almost 3-1.
Yeah, you're not going to hear any arguments from me on that. I was considering the Sam sneaky sub line, but I don't think it happens because the same reasons. I just think she's going to be at an athletic disadvantage in this fight, like she usually is. And usually Sam's like, to get her success and to get her wins, she usually has to go through a bunch of shit and be resilient and then have her opponents tire out a little bit. And I just don't think that that's what you're going to get from Luciano in this fight. I think she's got very good cardio and can go for, the full 3 rounds and pump out the volume and be able to just stuff takedowns. And, I don't think that that's going to be like the same type of situation that Sam's been able to get with like Dudakova. I mean, we were betting her in those situations because we were banking on those girls tiring out. And Sam's got just very, very good cardio to be able to outlast fighters like that. But when you don't have that edge, and then you're still at the disadvantage technical striking, and you're at the disadvantage in speed, and you're, it's tough to win. So yeah, I think Sam's win condition here is a greasy split. So plus 260 or plus 275 on points, plus 650 on split. Only real shots in this one.
All right. Let's move on. Fight number 5. It is in the bantamweight division. It is the 8-0 Ozeas Musasa versus the 11-4 Carlos Vera. Tim, give us what you like here.
This is the start of some really interesting fucking lines to me. Just watching these guys fight and going like, oh my God, if they're not trying to set up Musasa here, like I don't know what to tell you. Carlos Vera is like legit one of the worst UFC fighters like ever. And the only way that I see him like winning in this fight is like leg lock meme sub. So like if you're going Vera, go knee bar on MGM at 50-1. I like that more than his sub. I don't see him like, or even like heel hook or some trash. So it's like 40-1. I don't see like there's a processed sub here. Like this guy is freakishly athletic. Anytime he gets taken down, he's just like bouncing back up like a fucking cat. He's going to have major speed advantage, major power advantage. So yeah, I'm not on the Vera side, but I do think if you're on him, I think you got to go like knee bar or something like that for him. I'm going to go pray that Musasa, that Vera can stall for a round, which I don't know if he can, to be honest. Just go round 2 plus 430, round 3 plus 650. I don't think I'm going to have any money on this fight whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, Musasa is everything you want in a green fighter. And that I'm using that word very loosely here because, I mean, this is as green as it gets with this guy. He's very, very green. very sloppy at times. The grappling is something to, he's just doing everything with like power and athleticism, like no process whatsoever with his get-ups, right? Like he's not doing the right things, but he's so strong. He's so athletic. Just like you said, he just pops right back up. And, the guy is just super strong for the division. You could see he's ripped. What I will say is it's kind of a bad look for your first fight in the UFC to be missing weight. He did come in half a pound over. Vera's old. Vera's not young. He's like 36, 37. He's got janky striking, a lot of kicks, kind of like a karate style, but like no power on the feet at all. No wrestling at all. Like the guy, he doesn't have any wrestling. By the way, I do want to say he's a Ryan Hall prodigy. So you can imagine what he likes to do.
He's like the striking coach at Ryan Hall's camp, isn't he?
I have no idea. I don't think anymore, but
oh yeah, I think I heard that he was that. But that's just like that's the funniest.
Yeah, I mean, the guy is just not very good, but he is dangerous with his heel hooks and his leg locks and stuff like that. Obviously, if you're a Ryan Hall, student, that's probably all the fucking jiu-jitsu they do. Imanari roll to a fucking leg lock to an E-bar to a inside heel hook, all types of like freaking crazy shit. So the thing with Musasa is like, yes, he's strong, he's powerful, but he throws himself like he's so like in his Contender Series fight, he's overthrowing so hard that he's overthrowing into the clinch. And like that other guy who got him down 4 times, and that guy's a prospect too. He's a good fighter, but he's a kickboxer. And he landed a lot of takedowns. He landed 4 takedowns on him. But the problem with Otar or whatever his name was is he had no jiu-jitsu at all. Like he doesn't know what to do with jiu-jitsu. Like Musasa gives up his back, man. He does. And is there a world that Vera can jump and put the hooks in? I do think he can. I think, listen, I think Musasa wins. The other thing I do think is I think this fight probably goes to decision because, like, for every time that Musasa hits Vera, you know what he's going to do to him? Right on his back like a turtle. He's going to say, come here in my guard, right? So he's never been KO'd. That's maybe partly why, because he probably just falls on his back. He's going to try to Imanari roll. He's going to try to get a leg. I'm going to just take a poke on a sub. I think that's his only chance, right? It's 12-1. I think on Bet Rivers, you can get 12-1. It's one of those plays where you say, this is the only win condition for this guy, a sub. If he doesn't get it, he probably loses. And I think, honestly, if Musasa wins, I lean more to decision than KO, believe it or not. So I do think Musasa wins, and I do think it's probably decision, but I like the sub line. It's too big for a guy is like, that's literally 95% of his win equity. And if he doesn't get a sub, he's kind of done. So, let's move on. Fight number 6. It is in the bantamweight division. It is the 14-3 Su Young Yu versus the 11-4 AJ Cunningham. And guys, this is my hot take of the week. I like AJ Cunningham this week, believe it or not. As much as of a punchback this guy is, as much as, people say he's not UFC level, he's a punchbag, he's this, CTE. But Yu is not the guy, man. Yu is not the guy. Yu is he's a good wrestler. He has okay jiu-jitsu, nothing special, but his striking is not very good. He gets hurt. I've seen him hurt and dropped in like 2 or 3 fights. He's fighting on close margins against a lot of guys. Cunningham, the thing with Cunningham is I listened to his interview, and the one thing he said is he was smoking weed his entire life. He said, I stopped smoking weed for 70 days. I'm no longer smoking weed. He moved to Colorado, which is a big plus from where he was training. Let me tell you, the guy's training in the backwoods of fucking Arkansas with his cousin. That's a shitty place. He moved to Colorado. He is the jiu-jitsu instructor at Factory X now. He does jiu-jitsu classes, and the guy committed to making 35, man, which I swear, Tim, I never thought this guy can make 35. I'm like, the guy is huge for 45. I'm like, there's no shot this guy can make 35. And if he does, he's probably going to die on the scale because it just doesn't look like he could. But when I was looking at his Instagram, man, I saw the process. Like, the guy looked lean, ripped, and that might have to do with all the, like, not smoking anymore, taking it more serious, moving, dedicating. He's like, I'm in the gym 6 days a week, 2 times a day. I'm either training people or I'm training myself. So he dedicated his life, he said, to the game now. I think if he could stuff takedowns, he's absolutely going to cook in this fight, man. And the one thing I will say, he could get taken down, but I think he can get back up too. He's gotten back up a lot against other people, and I don't think Hughes is the best. So for me, I'm going to go with AJ Cunningham here by decision, guys. By decision, 11.5 to 1, plus 1150 on Bet Rivers. Give me AJ Cunningham here. I think he wins this fight. I think he cooks this guy from Korea. And guess what, guys? These guys from the road to UFC have looked absolute dog shit in the UFC. That I want to let you guys know. They have not looked good. And I think this is another guy that might flop. So, yeah, as much as people have shit on Cunningham, I'm on him this week. I might be one of the only people on this guy, but I think he's dedicated. I think he's changed a lot of things in his life. And I honestly think he's going to be, think about this. When they get in the cage tomorrow, this guy's going to be 165, 170 maybe even. And the other dude's going to be 145, 150. And he's going to have like a 20-pound edge on this dude. So, yeah, I mean, I like Cunningham. Big, strong take here. I might eat crow after tomorrow, but it is what it is.
Dude, I love it, man. No, you hit most of the things that I think I was going to say on this fight. I think, I mean, like, minus 550 for a road UFC debutant that has zero striking and, like, doesn't do ground and pound, like major sub reliant, not a huge, like, insane control on the ground. Guys are getting up, guys are reversing him. What the fuck are we doing with this line? Like, I get that AJ Cunningham's, like, got absolutely obliterated by Ludovic Klein, but Ludovic Klein would be minus 2,000 versus this guy. Like, how is he like plus 600 versus Ludovic Klein, and then he's plus 440 or 450 or plus, I think he was plus 500 to start the week with this guy. Like, I just think it's fucking wild, to be honest. Like you said, I think he's going to at least be 20 pounds heavier than him when they get in the cage tomorrow. Not easy to grapple somebody that's 20 pounds heavier than you. He's training with guys he's training jiu-jitsu and he's training wrestling with guys that are better than this guy, like, point blank.
He said he's been training with all the Factory X guys, like,
yeah.
Whoever's at Factory X he's been training with. So
it just seems pretty, like, what like, I just go, like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, it just seems crazy. So I'm with you on the points, but I don't hate, like, 2 other bets as well. I don't hate round 3 AJ plus 3,200. I think that's pretty fucking wide. I think that it's possible that he could cook him, like you're saying. And if this guy isn't getting taken down or takedowns, the time that he did get KO'd, it was in round 3, and it's kind of a similar situation where it's like, game is not working, have to strike, get fucking rocked. He's gotten rocked in multiple fights too. So it's like, I just think that AJ Cunningham's a guy that you can rely, like the Ludovic Klein fight. Did he get fucking murdered? Yes, he got murdered. And eventually, like, once he got hurt to the body and once he started taking the really bad shots, it went downhill like super, super fast. But I think he landed like, I'm going to look at it. He landed like 36 strikes of 75 significant strikes and like 15 to the head on Ludovic Klein. Like I said, like Ludovic Klein would be minus 1,500, minus 2,000 against this dude. So yeah, I just think it's kind of like an easy click. We bet numbers here. So yeah, plus 3,200 on round 3. You already said the points, so I'll say that as well. And then his split decision is plus 2,500. So yeah, sign me up.
Tim, I do want to mention like the Ludovic Klein fight was not a one-sided beating, man. He landed a lot on Ludovic Klein in that fight.
Until he got hurt. Yeah, until
he got hurt to the body though. It was a kick. It was a kick and then punches to the body. Ludovic Klein didn't hurt him up top. He didn't hurt him to the head. He hurt him to the body. He actually blasted him with a body kick or a teep, whatever it was, and then he followed up to his body and finished him. All right. So, anyways, it's like you said, Ludovic Klein would be minus fucking 5,000 against this dude, you know? So it doesn't really matter. I
think Stephen Wynn would be a favorite to this guy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, maybe, but I just think Cunningham is he's a bit different now, man. I think just moving to Colorado, all these things he mentioned is going to help him. It's going to help him for sure. All right, let's move on. Fight number 7. It is in the heavyweight division. It is the 12-1 Waldo Cortez Acosta, versus the 22-10 Ryan Spann. You kick us off here.
Oh man, I want to pass on this one so fucking bad, to be honest. I really do. I don't pass very often. I don't know. The only thing that I think potentially might be a little bit more like, I think it's possible that Acosta could finish him late. I know that that's possible. They're shitty lines. Acosta's gone to decision with guys that he should have been finishing that are not durable either. I just don't like having my money on either one of these fucking guys, honestly. Like I thought Waldo should have lost to fucking Orlovsky as like a plus 600, and they kind of like, it was a way closer fight than it should have ever been. Spann, I mean, it has to be in my mind, it kind of has to be Spann or pass. And then that makes me want to vomit in my mouth a little bit. So yeah, I'm just going to pass on this one. I don't really feel this one at all. If you got into my head, I would go like 2-3 Waldo, or maybe like even Spann decision as I go on an island type of pick, but I don't want to pick anything in this fight.
Yeah, I mean, I got a hot take on this one, to be honest.
You're gonna go Spann points?
I got a hot take here, Tim. Wait till you hear this one. So Spann didn't look really good on the scales. I mean, 249. I was not expecting that. Like, you're cutting to 205. I don't expect you to be walking around at 250. So I don't think he was walking around at 250. He's probably walking around 235, maybe, right? He's cutting 30 pounds, something like that. But to see him coming in at 249 was kind of surprising. Like, not a lot of muscle. It looks like he lost muscle, added some fat, which is a little bit concerning. Now, the one thing that you can look at is he mentions that, now he doesn't have to like cut a lot of weight to make 205. He's talking about eating, which is kind of bad. Like, all he's talking about is like, I can eat whatever I want now, stuff like that, which shows. But like, the thing with Waldo is he fights close too, man, with everybody. Like Andre Orlovsky, embarrassing, bro. Like Orlovsky, he's fighting tooth and nail with Andre Orlovsky, bro. And, what are we going to make out of him beating the Spain? Wrestling the Spain? Is he going to wrestle Spann? No chance. He's not. If he does try to wrestle Spann, he might get guillotined or some front choked. Yeah. So he's not going to wrestle him. Lima absolutely schooled him. for the most part in that fight, right? With grappling. A lot of it was grappling. The guy doesn't know how to check a leg kick for his life. The thing about Span is he talked about coming in and being a little bit more tactical here. He's a bit faster than heavyweights are, right? He's going to have a speed advantage. He's going to be a little bit more tactical. He knows maybe his power is not going to translate as much at heavyweight, like it was at 205. So, yes, I do think his decision is live because it's plus 1,000, dude. It's on Hard Rock. It's 10-1 on Hard Rock, right? The guy is 3-3 in decisions. It's not like he can't win. And when you look at, like I said, this guy's fighting too close. Chase Sherman was fighting close with this guy, dude. Like, if you're telling me Chase Sherman and Andrei Arlovsky are fighting close to a decision, then why can't I play Ryan Spann by decision, right?
Yeah.
Why? Well, because I don't think Arlovsky has great cardio. I don't think Chase Sherman has great cardio. So if that was the case, then I would say, okay, well, these guys have great cardio and Spann doesn't. So, but no, man, they don't have great cardio. I know Ryan Spann doesn't have great cardio, but I do know he can go 3 rounds. And it's not like Acosta is some fucking cardio machine. It's 10-1.
His split to his plus 2,200, and he's gone.
Yeah, how wrong could that be?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you on that. That's what I was saying. I was gonna pass, and I would only think of 2-3 or points for Spann.
I mean, I don't think it's that wrong, man. Look, listen, he lost a split decision to Anthony Smith a couple of fights ago. He won a split against Sam Alvey 5 years ago. So we know he can go 3 rounds.
Right.
And maybe the weight cut that he doesn't have to cut weight helps him more. I don't know. Or maybe it can harm him because he's got more pounds to carry. It could go both ways. Yeah. But I'm willing to take a shot, man. I don't think – the other thing is I don't really think this Acosta guy, he slaps a lot with his punches, man.
He's not good. He's blatantly not good. He's just not a guy that you can really rely on at chalk numbers.
He finished one guy, Bresky, and that was really weird, like an awkward, like he hit him on a temple or back of the ear or something. Because this guy's not finishing anybody. He couldn't finish. This Bane was dead, absolutely dead on his back, and he couldn't finish him. So
yeah, I'll jump in, and I won't pass on this one. I was thinking that, so might as well just throw points.
Here's the other thing, Tim. When you look at these two guys, who do you think is the better MMA fighter, just in general?
There's no question who's more talented.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's no question.
So, I mean, the only reason people are fading, saying, they're playing Acosta is because they're saying this guy's going to gas, all these other stuff, right? But skill for skill, Spann's the better fighter.
Yeah, not close. Yeah.
So I'm going to take my shot. And I do think that the reason why I'm taking a shot on decision too, I didn't mention, is I do think if there's one thing with this guy is he's got a very good chin and he's tough. So it won't be easy to finish him. Like Ryan Spann, I don't see him finishing, maybe sub, but I don't see him finishing KO. Yeah. I don't. All right, let's move on. Fight number 8. It is in the featherweight division. It is the 14-1 Kevin Vios versus the 11-7 Sung Woo Choy. I almost passed on this one, Tim. I almost passed. But I said there is a slight chance that Viejos can sub this fucker. Maybe club and sub. Maybe something like that, maybe get to this guy's back when he's doing something stupid. I don't think Viejos is a great grappler. I think he has a ton of power. I think he's going to knock him out, by the way. That's what I think. Because Choy, he's been knocked down 6 times in the last 4 fights, Tim. 6 times he's been knocked down in the last 4 fights. So, and now he's facing a guy that hits very hard. He goes to the body. And he's absolutely looks like a rock right now. I mean, fucking this guy, I don't know what he's using, what he's doing, but his shoulders are like boulders. I mean, the man is just ripped. He's 23 now. I think this is his time. I really like this guy, by the way. I've been saying from day one, why didn't they sign him? He looked good in Dana White's Contender Series against a very, very good fighter now that we know. He should have been signed. He came back and obliterated the redhead dude. That guy was a punching bag in that fight. And I think Sungwoo Choi is going to be a punching bag in this fight. So, yeah, I mean, sub, but I think it's KO. I really do. It's 900, by the way, on FanDuel. Take a little shot there.
Yeah, I mean, like you're saying the 6 knockdowns for Choi at this point. Like the problem, like he used to be kind of durable and then he completely has just lost it. Like his style of fighting when he gets hurt is what gets him knocked down all the time. Like every time he gets hurt, he fucking goes guns blazing, full rabies mode and swings wider. Like it just, it's the stupidest shit. Like he never clinches. He never like runs away to try to like give himself space and time to get like the combos out. Like he just instantly re-engages in the fight and like tries to throw huge bombs. It's the weirdest strategy I've ever seen. Like it rarely ever works for him. So I just think, like you're saying, like I just think that one of these guys has shown the ability to take shots, like huge multiple combinations from Gene Silva, and the other guy is getting like knocked out by Michael Trezano. Like it just doesn't seem like a good shot. So yeah, for me it's use Corolla plus 210 KO1 and then a small Lambo KO2 plus 440. I think it's KO1.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the line was just awful. That's why I didn't even bother.
Yeah.
Just so bad. All right, let's move on here. Fight number 9. It is in the light heavyweight division. It is the 10-0 Deir Nurgazi versus the 16-7 Brenson Robero. Tim, what do you got for us here?
Huge weight miss for this guy. I think if you're going to miss, you might as well miss this way, to be honest. You know, why even try at this point? You know you're not going to make it. Why even try? He goes to the Lima school of cheating. Yeah, I mean, DR seems to be a better fighter. Robero, to me, just, I don't know. He seems to be a glass cannon. He's doesn't seem to have like terrible offensive grappling and offensive jiu-jitsu, but his defensive jiu-jitsu and his defensive grappling is really bad. His cardio seems bad. His chin seems to be fragile. I think DR's got some good leg kicks, or good kicks in general, not just calf kicks. I think he's got a good head kick as well. I think he could land that here. He also has got good wrestling and control. I think that if he does choose the wrestling path, I think that he's been like a control guy where he does throw some good ground and pound, but I do think that he gets into good positions to throw good ground and pound, but he's not like a submission over position guy. But I do think that this is a fight where I think he could lock in a sub, because I think Brenson just gives up bad spots and he gives up arm triangles. He gives up side control. He gives up his back. Like he does everything bad defensively on the ground. So round 2, round 3 plus 450 plus 600. Sub is 900. Sub 2, sub 3 is plus 3,000 plus 3,800. I think it's most likely late, unless he does like a head kick, something like that, or something, just memes him in the first round. But I think he finishes him late. But I'm sign me up a little bit for the sub, just from the. It's not from the DR side as much as it's from the methodology of how Robero loses a lot of these fights on the ground.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't like to see the weight miss, to be honest with you. But like you said, if you're going to miss, I guess, miss like this. Don't even kill yourself cutting. I mean, it looked like from the outside that the UFC was trying to get this guy a W, to be honest, because yes, is Robero dangerous? He has power, sure. But, he kind of gasses. His takedown defense is not very good. He's a little bit wild with his striking. And this Dair guy, honestly, he's a southpaw. He's kind of measured. He's a little bit low volume, but he's got good defense. He's showing a good chin. His cardio looks pretty good. And the thing is, like you mentioned, he can mix in takedowns, man, really good. I do disagree. Like I don't see him getting subs because he just doesn't advance, man. He's okay with like sitting in guard all day. Like throw a punch here, a punch there, sit in guard, maybe half guard, punch some more, never pass, and do the same shit over and over again. He does obviously have finishes, but from tape, man, he loves to, like that one dude, this Constantine guy that he fought, who's 19 and 15. He had so much top time in 5 rounds in that fight and could not finish this guy because he just sat there in half guard or full guard, and then all these other guys that he's finished were just awful, dude. Like the Sorty fight honestly looked like I don't even know what that was. It looked like a fix or something. Sorty just like didn't even fight, like quit. And this other guy, obviously, he caught him with a head kick. So I'm leaning decision again, man, here for this dude. I think, he can land the cleaner strikes. I think, Robero might have some moments, but this guy is showing a good chin. And I do think even if he gets stunned, Tim, I think he's going to go to the grappling and get a takedown and just kind of like stay on top. So, yeah, man, plus 300 here on Bet365 for the Kazakh guy by decision. I think that's where I'm leaning, man. I think it's a decision win for him here. Again, I think Robero is not very good. He's not very good. He has power. He has some decent kicks, but his takedown defense is not good.
Yeah,
As he gets tired, that Magomed guy that beat him. You remember that guy, Tim? He's an absolute biggest gasser. And in round 3, he got a takedown, and Robero was like, I'm done. Just stay on top of me. I'm done. And he was done.
Yeah, that's the thing that's what worries me. I do agree that he's more position over submission for sure, but that's like kind of the part where I just don't know what Robero is going to do, because in that fight with Gaziazulov, he did nothing and he just laid there and he just tried to survive. But in other fights where he's gotten subbed, he just does everything wrong. You know what I'm saying? And you're like forced to advance. So it's like that's where it's just fun. It's tough for me to kind of like. I definitely see the just holding top position and just throwing little shots and just winning minutes that way. I think that's definitely live.
Does this guy have any subs? Oh, he's got 2.
Early in his career, he's got 2. He's got like a Kimura.
And a Kimura. Oh God, this guy's not subbing shit, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Robero, to be honest, last time he's been subbed was 9 years ago. So it could be he's been knocked out, but hasn't been subbed in 9 years. So, all right, let's move on. Fight number 10. It is in the bantamweight division. It is the 15-7-1 Damon Blackshear versus the 21-10 Cody Gibson. And yeah, I think Gibson's going to engage in grappling, and he's going to find himself in a tough position here. Just Blackshear is very good on the ground. He's a very good wrestler. He's a very good scrambler. He's very fast, and I think he's gonna find a way to get a sub here against this guy, because I do think Gibson's going to grapple. And maybe Damon grapples here, but there is going to be grappling, and I think one guy is superior when it comes to jiu-jitsu, and that's Blackshear. He's just younger, faster, a little bit probably stronger of the two. So I'm going to take Blackshear by sub here, plus 290. It's a used Lambo, but it's right there on Bet Rivers. I like Blackshear in this fight. Even though I like Gibson as a fighter, I think he's kind of up against it here. I just think Blackshear's better everywhere. Like, there's nowhere that Gibson's better than him. So, yep. You, Tim?
Same. Sub all day. Punish this fucking Cody Gibson for not subbing Chad and Ellender and putting us through the pain. That bastard. That was one of the most painful beats of all time.
Yeah, that was bad. That was very, very bad. I remember it. Let's move on. Fight number 11. It is in the lightweight division. It is the 15-8 Alexander Hernandez versus the 21-8 Kurt Holloway. This one's yours, Tim.
Man, I fucking hate this fight too, man. I really do. I did eventually come back to the Ryan Spann and not passing on that one. To now we're at this fight. This is just tough for me. I don't know. There's part of me that thinks that, like, I don't know. The part of me that's like, okay, it's got to be a Kurt late fight. You know, he's got to be that kind of. It has to be that bet. Like, okay, you got Alex Hernandez. He constantly gasses. He constantly wilts in fights when he doesn't go his way. And then I'm like, but the fights that Alex Hernandez wins are against guys like this. Like, it's against like getting Jim Miller down and surviving on the ground and outstriking him. Old guys that, you know, aren't hurting him enough, don't have enough either not power, but just like the gas to just keep going and going and going and keep forcing him into shit. So I'm not going to bet this fight. So I'm passing on betting it, but I think like Kurt round 2, Kurt round 3, 12-1, 16-1, fine. But like, I'm not betting it. I wanted to bet. I wanted to like trying to convince myself what's the prop on Alex. My prop on Alex would probably be like KO1 is like 10-1. But yeah, I'm not going to bet this fight. No chance.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. Fight number.
You didn't give yours on that.
Oh, sorry. Hold up. I didn't give mine.
You can pass. Don't worry.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Like I like 2-3. I'm gonna go with 2-3 just because smaller cage for one. I like that. Holloway will keep coming. The one concern is like Alex can probably get takedowns and stay on top, but I don't see him like a Trey Ogden, right? Trey Ogden is good on top. He's a black belt. Like, he's going to have good control. You can't give up positions to him. I think Holloway can make mistakes here and try to give up his back and get up. You know what I'm saying? So, can he get taken down? Sure. Is Hernandez going to grapple, though, a lot, which might cause him to gas? I don't know. But I do know that Holloway has good boxing. I do know that Holloway has power. And I do know that he has good jiu-jitsu. So, I think he's a dangerous guy overall. And his cardio, it's pretty damn good. So it's probably fool's gold, I will say, but it's 12-1 on FanDuel, 1750 on Hard Rock for round 3. Just a very, very small poke. I wanted to stay away from this fight too, because I do think this is kind of fool's gold. And I do think that Hernandez wins this fight because yes, his cardio is pretty bad, but he's going to be so much faster. He's younger, more explosive, has, just about the same power, if not more. His cardio is the one thing, but at 55, it seems to be a bit better. I can't believe I went back and watched his last fight, and I still don't understand. I mean, this is the problem with judging, and it's fucking annoying. But I had Hubbard late round props there, right? Whatever. But how in the world does Chris Lee give 30-27 scorecard to Austin Hubbard in that fight? Can you fucking explain that to me? How did he give him 30-20? I saw the scorecard. I'm like, 30-27 Hubbard?
I think he gave 30-27 or 29-28 to Santos last week versus Marshall too.
It's literally mind-boggling. How did you give 30-27 to Hubbard in that fight? Like, it's criminal, dude. Like, okay, if you thought 2 of the rounds were close and you gave 29-28 Hubbard, I would say it's still a bad decision. But okay, 30-27 Hubbard? I mean, you got to be smoking something to be 30-27 Hubbard, man. You really do. It's amazing. But yeah, I mean, 2-3 here. Again, I think it's fool's gold, but I do think that Alexander Hernandez actually wins the fight. That's who I favor here. Moving on, co-main event of the night, and it is in the welterweight division. It is the 25-8-1 Zaleski dos Santos versus the 24-10 Chidi and Jakkuani. Chidi missed by 1.25 pounds. He's looked good at 70. I have to say, like, he has looked really good at 70. He got taken down against Gooden, but he worked right back up. Reese McKee, again, I really don't know how that was a split decision. I mean, absolute comical split decision there.
It was, though.
Again, another drunk judge that somehow saw that split decision. I don't even know how, but he won that fight pretty convincingly. He went 3 hard rounds. And, Reese McKee, yeah, he's a punching bag, but he pushes a big pace. And he pushed a big pace in that fight. And Chitty pretty much kept up, So now the thing is with Zaleski is like, I do think he's a good fighter. I do think he's well-rounded, but he is 38 years old. He is getting up there. What do you want to make from the Scroggin win? Anything? Nothing for me. Like, it means nothing.
Fire the people sanctioning fights for the UFC.
Yeah. I mean, he lost to Randy Brown, right? Tough matchup, long guy. But if you look at Chitty, he's kind of similar to Randy in the fact that he's long, he's a good striker, has a good jab, stuff like that. He's more dangerous than Randy Brown, And then when you look at, like, in general, right, Zaleski dos Santos, split decision loss to Salikov, split decision win to Abubakar Nurmagomedov, draw to Renat. I mean, what does that tell you? Close. He's another guy that doesn't pull away. He's like fighting close all the time. He's a pretty big favorite. I mean, almost 2-1, right? I don't know how you can lay that price, honestly. The guy just fights too close for my liking. He's older. But I do think that his sub might be live here, Tim. It could be live. That's not what I'm going with, but that might be yours. I am going with the Chitty and Jakkuani decision. I hit that last time, and I'm going to try it again at 5.5-1 on DK. I thought you liked sub.
I like them both. I like them both.
Yeah. So I like the decision at 5.5-1. I do think sub is live, honestly, for Dos Santos. But I'm going to go with the one I like more, and I think Chitty is live to win a decision here. Even split, I think split is like, what, 16-1 or something?
14, yeah.
14-1. I think that's good, too.
Yeah, I've been literally on this show cashing bombs on Chitty's last 2 fights on decision props. Like, 2 fights ago, I was saying he's 7-2 in decisions. Then I was like, he's 8-2 in decisions. And now I'm telling you he's 9-2 in decisions. Like, this guy wins decisions. Like, if he gets to a decision, he obviously has some wilt in him. We've seen him wilt in fights. He's wilting to guys that are usually grappling him unless he catches a shot to the ear from Barrio. Or no, was it him hitting Barrio? I can't remember.
No, he hit Barz.
My bad on that. So it's usually him wilting to grapplers. And I just think that the line for Dos Santos being where it's at, like, it's got to be assuming that he's going to be like insta grappling. That's the only way it makes sense to me. It can't be that he's going strike for strike with this guy. Like, he's shown that his capoeira style is just like, he's struggles to get in on dudes that are way, way, way bigger than him and longer than him. If he tries to clinch in this fight and he tries to get caged, like, dude, you're going straight into the wheelhouse of Chitty. Like, dude's super flexible, insanely difficult to fight with Muay Thai strikes, knees everywhere. He can kick you from like a foot away. He can get a head kick up on you. Like, he's just insanely fucking difficult to fight in the clinch. He's not easy to fight at range either, because he's so fucking long. And he's coming down a weight class, so he's even bigger at this weight class. I would have thought that his weight, like, coming down to this weight class would have hurt him, and that was my concern in betting his decision the last two fights with him. But he's shown, like, it hasn't affected him at all. Like, it hasn't affected his chin, it hasn't affected his cardio. He seemed totally fine in round 3s. So yeah, to me, I think you're going to see this because I said I've got both of them. Like, on my Lambo parlays, like, I have one that has Chitty points and I have one that has Dos Santos by sub, because I think that they're both extremely good lines, and one is 550 plus 550 and the other is plus 1,000. I do think if the sub happens, I do think it is later. Like, I do think it is a tire. I do think that it's potentially Chitty does get tired. So, the sub 2 is 32,100. The sub 3 is plus 4,900 as well. So if you want to take some whisper bets on that, those are fucking wild lines to me. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I think it's either Chitty decision or split, or sub for Dos Santos on Lambo plays here.
Yeah. I like it. I like it. With that being said, guys, 400 of you in here. Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys and girls. Please hit the like down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Notification. Hit that notification button, please. That bell down there. It helps out to know when we go live here on my channel, as well as, after the video comes up, is pulled up on YouTube, write some comments, some questions, some concerns. Give me your takes on the fight. So, and I answer most of those. I appreciate that. Also, Discord link down below. I do have, by the way, this is for everybody in here. I do have a contest going on in my Discord this week. So anybody who subscribes, I'm giving out $100 in cash to one person. Another person is getting the Odd Shopper Portfolio EV for 1 month for free. That was given out by Odd Shopper themselves. So thank you. Shout out to them. That thing is like, dude, it's amazing. There's so many people on my Discord that actually use it, and they print money with that tool, man. It's just like, it gives you, spits out all the EV bets, and all you have to do is click one button and boom, bet all the bets. It's just a crazy tool that there's a guy, Hutch Boy, in my Discord, literally makes thousands every week on that thing. And he helps everybody. Like, if they need help with the settings, he tells them. So I think it's a great tool, and I'm giving it out for free for 1 month. So if you're in my Discord, that is part of the contest. And the third one is you get a $50 gift card also on OS Tails that you can spend on any two cappers that you want on there. So that's another thing that they given out. So shout out to Odd Shopper Tails. Appreciate them. And link down below again, $25 a month. Join the Discord. You don't want to join, that's fine as well. I appreciate all your support of being just in here and supporting the show. With that being said, Tim, main event time. It is in the middleweight division. It is the 19-6-1 Marvin Vettori versus the 14-3 Roman Dolidze. And you can kick us off here.
This is a interesting fight coming back. You have two guys that are I like meathead versus blockhead. Like, I just like, you just get, these guys are both fighters to me that I don't know. I typically fade these guys. Like, I don't know. I think that this fight, the last time that they fought, obviously, most fights that you see sequels in the second or third time, or trilogies on these fights, that they don't go the same way that the first fights go. But I mean, to me, I just don't think that these guys have B games or like C games. Like, I think that they do what they do, and if it's not working, they try to do what they do better, and then they usually lose, and that's why they lose. So to me, I feel like, there's a little bit of a volume edge, minutes versus moments. I will say that I thought in rewatch that the Roman side was the side last fight. I thought that he won the fight. I think that through the body language of Marvin Vettori when they're reading the cards, I think that he thought that he lost the fight too. So yeah, I think going 5 rounds, I think that edges Vettori a little bit here. I think that he's shown better cardio through his fights, but yeah, we don't know what to expect of him coming off of shoulder surgery and shoulder injury. Think the grappling is close, but I think Roman's a better grappler. Maybe he's definitely got better jiu-jitsu. I don't think he's necessarily has better wrestling, but I think he's definitely got better jiu-jitsu than Vettori. But yeah, I think slight edge on the grappling for Roman, for the jiu-jitsu edge. Striking, I think he's got bigger power. Less volume. Yeah, this seems like just a split decision all over it. Like, this just seems splittish. So plus 330. Don't hate anybody taking a shot on Roman by split at plus like 1,000.
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with the line, honestly. I want to bet Dolidze pre. I haven't yet, but I mean, how can we get to Vettori minus 175 coming off 2-year layoff, like a terrible shoulder injury? There's rumors flying around that the shoulder's still fucked up all over the place. So, one guy's been active in Dolice. He's been at, Extreme Couture. He's been training. He looks in good shape. The other guy is, he's been out, man. Like, coming off a terrible beating, like an absolute, like I don't even know what to call that beating that he took against Jared Cannonier. Like, one of the worst beatings, dude, literally.
Sure.
And he took enough time, right? It's almost been 2 years, but part of those 2 years was him coming off that nasty, nasty shoulder injury that he talked about, that everything was torn in the shoulder, everything. So, and that was in, I want to say it was like March of last year, right? So it's been a year, but it's a tear. You guys got to understand, I had that shoulder surgery, rotator cuff, labrum, all of it was fucked up. I got back to the gym, yes, but you can't lift the same. You're not as strong. It takes a long time for your shoulder to get back to its full strength. And with their training, like, I can't imagine he came back. Like, he probably came back 10 months later, something like that, right? So he hasn't had a long training camp or anything. And the other guy, he's been active. Dolice's been active. He's been taking fights. He's been fighting. He fought 3 times in 2024 while this guy's been on the shelf. So I like the Dolice side here, honestly. Vittori's obviously proven he's very tough, and it's going to be super hard to sub him. It's going to be hard to kill him. So I'm just going decision here at plus 360, Tim, on Bet Rivers. But truthfully, I just like the Dolice side in general. Like, I think he has bigger power. I think he's taken less damage, a lot less damage. He's not the injured guy coming in here. He's more active. There's so many of these things that just pile up, and they keep piling and piling and piling. And then we can talk about their first fight and say that, they gave it to Marvin Vettori. They could have easily given it to Roman Dolice. Like, it was a very close fight. They had it unanimous. To me, when I watched it on rewatch, and I had Vettori in that fight, I think you could have, like, if they gave it to Dolice, I wouldn't have said it's robbery. So be it. It's 29-28 either way, right? Vettori has shown good cardio. He can go 5 rounds. But again, we're going to talk about 2-year layoff. We're going to talk about he's probably not tip-top condition either. So, 360 on the decision. Like, I don't know what the split is. Probably 11-1 or something.
Yeah, plus 1,900, something like that.
Yeah, it's not great. That's not great. I would just stick with the decision, and that's it. Call it a day. All right, Tim. Lambo parlay time. I will start mine. Mine is short and sweet, but huge odds. It is Judice 2-3. I'm not going away from that. And it is Cunningham by decision, 104-1, 189-1. Nice and easy, nice and huge. Let's fucking hit it this week, Tim.
Love it. I'm going to have 2. They switch, and one of the legs switches. The first 2 legs that don't switch are Vallejos KO and Damon Blackshear sub. And then the third leg and the first one is Chidi by decision, and that's 35-1. And then if you take Chidi decision out and you switch it with Dos Santos by sub, it's 65-1.
I don't mind that one, actually. I don't mind it. Vallejos KO, yes. Chidi decision or Dos Santos sub, yes. Blackshear sub, yeah. Not bad. I will be playing that. Appreciate everybody. 401 people. Please hit the like on the way out. Subscribe again. Subscribe. I have close to 3,000 subscribers. I'm getting there. I appreciate you guys if you guys can get me there. Thank you everybody again for being here on a Friday night. It's just been, I never thought that this show would have 126 episodes. Which is basically get about 39, 38 cards a year. So you're talking about over 3 years, about 3 years of shows here. So Appreciate you, Tim, as well. I think Tim's been on the ride since, I have to go back, but I think since episode 20.
Yeah, I'm probably around getting my 100 range here with you. Yeah.
Yeah, you were pretty early. Maybe a little bit past 20. I don't remember, but I have to go back and look. But yeah, you've been on the ride for about at least 2 years, I would say.
Yeah, 2.5, 3 years.
Like that. But yeah, I mean, I try to bring on guests sometimes, and people ask for guests. It's just, I feel like just me and you, it's fine. It goes too long when you have 2-3 guests, and each one's giving a Lambo, and each one's giving a breakdown. The show tends to go 2 hours plus, and yeah, it just feels more natural to just be here, me and you. We might still get guests here and there, but for the most part, I know people ask me, bring this guy back, bring him back, bring that guy back, you know. I might have a couple, by the way. So I'm in the works with one that's pretty popular, actually. No one that he's never been on my show, but he's pretty damn popular out there in the MMA, not only MMA, but in the Twitter world in general. So, all right. Tim, any parting words, anything?
No, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, love doing this with you as always, and let's get this fucking money.
All right, everybody, take care. Hope you guys crush it tomorrow. And one last thing, let's cash those tickets